Hey guys, and welcome back to Hoosier Hardware. Today's a really fun day for me because I'm headed off to a gaming party. Now I'm going to be taking my mobile PC, and my mobile PC, I mean my desktop PC for gaming that actually is somewhat portable, and that's going to be my super small form factor gaming PC. I'm very excited to actually get to take it out for the first time. And so basically I just want to give you guys an overview of my mobile setup that I take with me if I'm going to go and game somewhere. And I'll go over all the components and talk about why I'm going with each part. And then of course you can give me your thoughts at the end in those comments down below about what you think about my setup, what you would change with it, and all of that whatnot. But first I guess I better throw the intro up and then we can be off to the races. Now I'm going to start off by talking about the peripherals, screen, controllers, all that sort of stuff first, then we'll talk about the actual PC itself. So I'm going to start off with the monitor today, and this is a pretty basic 1440p monitor. There's no G-Sync here, it's just a 75 Hz 1440p TN panel. There's nothing special whatsoever with it. It's an Asus model, and I will link everything down below as well in case you're interested in some of this stuff. Though I wouldn't necessarily recommend going the same route that I have here because there are better monitors for the same cost or cheaper out now. It's just that at the time, this is what I purchased back in the day, and frankly, it still works, so I haven't replaced it for anything like that. And yeah, it's available, so I'm going to take it with me since it wasn't set up anywhere. So I'm going to take the 75 Hz 27-inch 1440p screen with me. For control mechanisms, I have a few things going on here. I have all wireless peripherals, and we're going to start with the Xbox One controller because I'm not 100% sure whether I'm going to have a tabletop to work with or whether I'm going to have to be sort of sitting on a chair or a couch. So I'm taking the controller with me because I'm going to be playing Skyrim, and I actually started playing Skyrim on the Xbox 360. This would be a very easy adjustment back to using a controller for this game. I don't really want to because I far prefer mouse and keyboard, but I can have that flexibility now if I want to, where I can just use the controller. However, if I'm using the mouse and keyboard, I do have a wireless keyboard. This is a Velocifier keyboard, which I'll link a similar model down below as well. And then I have my G900 Chaos Spectrum Logitech mouse. It's a fairly heavy wireless mouse. For those of you that enjoy very light mice, this one would not be for you, but it is wireless, which is what I'm really going for with this setup today. And then I do have a mouse pad, and I believe this was from Gigabyte that I got a while back. It's a really nice mouse pad. Not really sure if it's still available, but there are lots of similar mouse pads out there that would sort of mimic this feel and size and that sort of thing. I like it because it's very plain Jane, it's very basic, but it feels really nice under the mouse. So I'm going with that. Now I want to talk a little bit about the PC itself because this is a computer I put together a while back, and I've made some minor adjustments to it since I put it together. So we're going to start off with the GPU side of things, and it's featuring right now a GTX 970. Now, if I was planning on playing some more demanding games, I would totally swap that out and actually pull my 1080p, or rather 1080 Ti, 1080p, my 1080 Ti from my main system back there and throw it in there. But because I'm just playing Skyrim, which at 1440p is going to be no problem for this 970, I'm just going to leave it put in there, though it does have much room for upgrades, you know, with this system. Now on the CPU side of things, it's another sort of weird combination. I actually have my Ryzen 3900X in there, but I've disabled half of its cores, so we're down to 6 cores and 12 threads, and that's purely to save on thermal overhead as well as to be able to get the maximum clock speeds possible, because again, Skyrim is not going to be able to use 12 cores and 24 threads. That's really just eating up and wasting power because the power supply in this system is only 450 watts. So instead, I'm just running it as if it was a Ryzen 3600, which would actually be my preference for a system like this because I'm not doing any heavy lifting with this system. I'm not doing rendering videos with this system. I'm not doing streaming with this system. This is purely just for gaming, and 6 cores and 12 threads right now in 2019 headed into 2020. That's no problem at all. From there out, it's actually fairly basic though, being in the Geek A60 case. Everything is just clumped really tightly together. We do have an AIO on this CPU. That's the Corsair H100 IV2. So we do have a water-cooled chip. I think I saw a maximum temperature under a stress test in IDA 64 of like 60 degrees with only running 6 cores and 12 threads. So absolutely under control on the temperature side of things. For storage, we have a 512 gigabyte NVMe drive, and then for RAM, we have 16 gigabytes of DDR4 running at, I believe, 3000 megahertz. And all this for Skyrim is just way overkill, and I fully understand that. But this setup does give me a little bit of flexibility to play a few more demanding games as the night wears on. Maybe I get bored and want to take a break from Skyrim and play something like Overwatch or something else. All that's well within the realm of possibility. Now, I did take the opportunity to charge absolutely everything I could in advance for this trip, but of course, I just dropped one. But I do have plenty of extra AA batteries. The Xbox One controllers use just standard AA, and I don't use the battery packs. I just have a bunch of rechargeable AA batteries, so I'm bringing several of those with me. I do have to remember all of my, can't really show them off very well, my wireless dongles. I have 3 of these to remember. I have a Bluetooth one. I do have USB dongles for both the mouse and the keyboard, and luckily Wi-Fi is handled on this motherboard. It's an Asus motherboard that has Wi-Fi on board, so I don't have to worry about a separate dongle for that as well. But dongles galore with this, well, not really dongles, just USB adapters really for this particular build, but it allows me to go wireless and keep cable clutter to a minimum. So I didn't really have a lot of time to do any sort of performance testing, but of course this is a GTX 970. It's gonna run exactly like a GTX 970 that's not being bottlenecked by a CPU would run. Those 6 cores, 12 threads are going to be running at higher clock speeds than Ryzen 1st gen or 2nd gen. So there's really just the bottleneck being the GTX 970 with this system. So if you're really interested how this system would run, I mean, basically just look on YouTube and find GTX 970 benchmarks. It's going to run basically exactly like that. And frankly, that's more than enough performance I need for this trip. Though, like I said, I could always swap that 970 out for something else. It's just right now, that's my second strongest card that I have on hand. The only other one that's stronger is the 1080 Ti that's already in my main system, and I didn't feel like pulling it out for Skyrim. So that is my mobile LAN party, gaming party setup going into 2020. Of course, I do want to hear your guys' thoughts. What would you swap out? Keeping in mind that several of these components, you know, the keyboard, mouse, monitor especially, those are all in this setup because I just don't have other things on hand. I didn't really want to spend money to add to the setup. I'm basically just using what's on hand. But of course, if there are things that you would change and you had the money to change up on it, what kind of things would you change with the setup? Let us know all those thoughts down below. And of course, if you like the video, give it a like, share, subscribe, and comment. All those things are very helpful for the channel. You can follow me both on Instagram and on Twitter at Hoosier Hardware. And as always, I'll let YouTube queue up a couple more videos from my channel for you to watch. I'm Shane with Hoosier Hardware, and I'll see you guys in the next video.